Welcome to Equipping Leaders, a podcast where I share and discuss resources, tools, and information to equip leaders to build creative, cohesive teams through culture and leader development. Welcome to the Equipping Leaders podcast. I am your host, Natasha, and today I'm going to talk about building rituals in the workplace. There are a lot of things that occur in the workplace, and some could be considered traditions or rituals or habits, as long as it's not one of those like, oh, this is the way we've always done it, because that's not anything, and that should be done away with probably immediately. But a ritual in the workplace is something that brings people together or encourages everyone to work in a unique way. Not all rituals have to drive performance in an obvious way. Their purpose is unity with each other, and unity with our objectives. Rituals can accomplish this in a number of ways. They create a safe space for learning and experimenting. They can decrease anxiety and motivate team members. The authors of the book, Rituals for Work, identified 4 principles for rituals in the workplace. The first principle is that rituals have a magical je ne sais quoi factor. Rituals are special, and they have an ability to make us feel special when we're a part of them. The second principle is that rituals are done with intentionality, with the person tuned into being in this special moment. When people respect rituals and what they can get out of them, they bond us and they make us more a part of a group. We respect the ritual by being fully present, both for ourselves and for each other. Other things can wait until the ritual is over. They don't have to take a long time, and most of them usually do not. The next principle is that a ritual carries a symbolic value that gives a sense of purpose, and that's beyond the practical. Rituals are symbolic, and they have the value and importance that we place on them. The more we can engage, the more we will symbolically get out of the ritual. When we dismiss something as impractical, we're not going to get any value from it. And not everything has to have some big quantifiable result. The final principle is that a ritual evolves over time to better suit the people and the situation. Just like we have to evolve as leaders and as people, our rituals must evolve to stay current so that we can continue to empower ourselves and our teammates. Rituals bring people together, but there are parameters on them. You want to have fun, and you want them to have a purpose, but you don't want them to become just another office routine. To create rituals, we have to remember that we need to create the environment for the ritual to be successful. And this can mean a lot of different things depending on your organization. But the main thing with that is ensuring that you've created a safe space for people to actually engage in this and be open and vulnerable to each other during these rituals. You can use rituals to increase engagement in 5 specific areas: for changes or transitions, to encourage creativity, to build community, to improve performance, and to empower resilience. Changes and transitions are common workplace occurrences. Whether something or someone in the organization is changing or you have a new team member, you can make people feel like they're an important part of your group. When a friend of mine started working at a new company, he got this box of goodies that had like a coffee cup and a notebook and all this branded stuff from the company, and it was welcoming him to the organization. And while we do know that employee retention is about more than goodies, the thought and the effort that the organization had put into that welcome gift meant a lot to my friend. Enough so that he mentioned it to a bunch of other people. We can make people feel seen during times that are notoriously stressful, and it really does not take an exorbitant amount of effort to do so. Rituals can encourage creativity, innovation, and help forge new pathways, specifically when they are designed and focused to do so. They do not have to be elaborate. They just have to get people thinking in a new way. An easy ritual that could be implemented at the beginning of the day or at the start of a brainstorming session is to get everyone to doodle something. Now, I know that sounds like inconsequential and maybe like a waste of time, but when we're thinking analytically, or we're about to jump into some analytical thinking, it helps to use the other side of our brain because this makes us more creative and more open to different ideas. Just take 3 to 5 minutes to doodle, and you can have a focused doodle or you can let it be free flow. Rituals have the capacity to build community in the workplace because you're all engaging in something that brings you together. It is something that is unique to your organization, the way that you work together, and something that you share. In the workplace, this is huge. A lot of offices have daily or weekly meetups where they discuss the status of projects and tasks. A really simple ritual to add would be a check-in, where each person also gives a 2-minute update on what is going on with them. You can put this anywhere in the meeting, like in the middle or closer to the end, but just be sure that it's in a place where no one gets cut off or misses anything. Knowing what is going on with each other and learning more about each other can help build greater community because you're learning about a person, but also you're learning about what matters to them based on what they're talking about. A ritual that improves performance is something that focuses on productivity and builds confidence. It should not be a skill drill where people are just using time to get better at specific tasks. That is important and necessary, but it is not a ritual. We often have to get focused or get into a mindset to do certain kinds of work. For example, when we need to dive in and focus on deep work, and having a focus item is a great little ritual that anyone can do. All you need is an item, like a rock or some other trinket, that you place your hand on or focus on to mentally prepare yourself to jump into work. You could also use a series of questions that you ask yourself before performing certain types of work, such as, what is my intention during this time? And what does success look like in the next 45 minutes? And how does this add value to others or to my organization? And when you can get those empowering questions going, or you can get that focus item and focus in more, you will be able to dive in and get that deep work done. When we establish rituals that empower resilience, we're also empowering people to deal with conflict and tension in a new way. One of the rituals to empower resilience that is discussed in the book Rituals for Work is the My First Failure book, which is a book of people in the organization who describe their first professional failure. It encompasses how they handled it, what they learned, and good things that happened after as a result of the failure. It does not have to be a long narrative. We don't need a personal memoir. It's just a paragraph or two. And the intention of this book is to share it with new employees so they're less afraid to take risks. And when they do make a mistake or fail, they have great stories about being resilient and pushing forward and learning that there are lessons in that and lessons that they can build their professional life on. Rituals are just as important in an environment where you have team members who are remote working. Rituals can be used to keep people engaged and help remind them that they're part of a team. Remote parties, check-ins, and other creative rituals can be implemented to ensure your team members are still part of the team even when they're geographically dispersed. Creating rituals for yourself is just as important as creating rituals for your team. You can share your self-ritual with others, and maybe they'll benefit from it as well. Earlier, I talked about the focus ritual, which is a one-person ritual, and this is just one example of many, many options. Me, for example, before I do a talk or record a podcast, I sit in silence for about 3 minutes, meditating and focusing on breathing and clearing my mind. And this helps me to not overthink what's about to happen, and it helps my nerves and my focus. We can leverage rituals to focus and be more productive, to bring teams closer together, and to overcome obstacles and setbacks. Rituals can lead to habits, but they are not routines. They have a dedicated focus and intention and are performed mindfully. Consider the rituals that you already have and how they empower you, and then look for how you can create rituals to empower others in your workplace. Thank you for listening to the Equipping Leaders podcast. You can follow me on Instagram at novel_Natasha or on Twitter at Natasha Cheyenne. Please join me next time for more insight and resources to equip leaders.